another video. Oh, News has decided to join. Are we gonna say hello? Oh my gosh, you are a potato. This is your moment. You're a star. What do you think? You're such a good boy. Go on then. Ugh. You can settle down right there. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Emme. I do videos all about life abroad, living in Canada and travel related things. So if you're into that kind of content, don't forget to check out the rest of my channel and subscribe if you want to. But like, stay here first. Oh, and look at my new fancy intro. If you are a returning subscriber of you, welcome back. Today is another sit down video. I know I had a sit down video last week, but there was a time when I just stopped doing sit down videos and now I'm doing them again. So we're just balance, you know, it's all about balance. I'm also aware that this video is late. I usually post at 7 AM on a Sunday morning, and this is not 7 AM on a Sunday morning, but time just got away from me this week, so I do apologize. I hope this is okay. Today's video kind of came to me randomly, the idea to do this. I was talking about this with one of my friends and I was talking about how I'd realized that I had lived in Canada for more of my adult life than I've lived in the UK, which is kind of strange, but I think it kind of makes me realize why Canada feels a little bit more like home now, and I feel more aware of things in Canada than I do in the UK. I guess it's also because I've been away for like almost 7 years, so that's kind of wild. 7 years. Time flies by in the scariest of ways, but here we are. Now obviously before I go on, because I'm gonna get loads of comments about this, Canada itself has not made me a better person, and these things are just a selection of things that have, in my opinion, made me better, a better person, better at dealing with life. This also is, you know, kind of parallel with like growing and aging and having life experiences and all of that. But I think a lot of these things were kind of expedited by the fact that I moved abroad and moved to Canada. And a lot of these things probably would have happened if I'd have stayed in the UK or if I'd have moved somewhere else. So obviously this isn't just to do with Canada, but I think it's just nice to reflect on all the ways that I feel like I've grown and changed, and Canada has helped me along the way. And if you live abroad, if it's in Canada or elsewhere, and you feel like living there has helped you do certain things or helps you realize certain things or help you grow in certain ways, I would love to hear more about it below. So just drop it in the comments and let's start a little conversation, positive conversation. I know I'm gonna there's been a huge influx recently of negative comments on social media apps, and I'm not sure why. I think it's just because I get a wider reach now, but yeah, nice comments, please. I'm a sensitive soul, though I seem thick-skinned. I don't know why I had to sing that, but that is one of the best movies of all time. Anyway, let's go on, shall we? So I think the first thing that living abroad, I think we'll say living abroad because it could happen anywhere, but the first thing that living abroad has taught me, or like helped me become better, is realizing that I can do the hard things. I know that sounds kind of vague, but I think before I moved to Canada, before I moved away, if you don't already know my story, I moved very impulsively. That's just who I am as a person. I'm not super impulsive, but when I have a very specific idea and I latch onto it and it feels right, I will move very, very quickly. And if it doesn't feel right or I'm a little bit apprehensive, I'll move slowly. But generally the pattern of my life is that when I make big changes, they happen very quick. And Canada was one of those decisions. And so I didn't really think too much about how difficult it was going to be. And obviously I had to face those things when I came here. And I don't think that if past Em had known that I would have to do all the things I've done in Canada, I feel like she would be like, no, we cannot do those things. But being abroad and living in Canada and having to deal with these things has really helped me trust myself and like figure out things and problem solve better and realize that I can do things that I definitely didn't think I would ever be able to do. Things like visas, immigration, that was a huge one, getting permanent residency and then getting citizenship. It was just such a big deal, and it was very, very difficult. It was a very, very long process. If any of you've been through immigration, you will know it is very stressful and it takes up so much of your time and it just eats up so much of your energy. And that was genuinely one of the proudest things that I have ever done. And I did it all by myself. You know, I had help from some people, but you know, generally I did the whole thing by myself, and I feel very proud of that. And you know, I think living abroad really does expedite that growth, and it really does help you realize that you can do the things that you didn't think that you could do. The next thing that I feel like living abroad and moving to Canada has taught me and helped me be better at is resilience. I think I've always been quite a resilient individual. Just because of like past experiences that I've had to be resilient. But I think moving abroad and kind of like having to stand on your own 2 feet without your support system in place, like, because you know, when you move abroad, you're pretty much on your own. I did have Mike, my boyfriend, and his family were out here too, so I did have some sort of support, but we have since moved away from there. And resilience is something that has been such a cornerstone of my experience in Canada. And a lot of these things we had to do by ourselves. Things like finding places to live in cities that are notoriously difficult to find places. Toronto, Victoria, 2 of the hardest cities to find places to live. And we did it. We even had like an Airbnb era, which is something, an Airbnb era. Probably should explain that. When we moved to Toronto, Mike and I both got our first jobs in Toronto. We obviously didn't have a place to stay initially because we had been living with his parents about an hour outside of Toronto. And so for those first few weeks, I say weeks, it was like a few months actually, we lived in Airbnbs, and not just like one Airbnb, we lived in a different Airbnb every single week. And so we moved every single week, and we lived out of a suitcase for like 2, maybe 3 months. It was pretty wild when I think back to it. And that I think requires a lot of resilience for someone like me who really does like to have a home base. I am an avid traveler. Travel is one of my life loves, and I do love living out of a suitcase for a short period of time, but I do like to have a home base and I like to have a foundation, and having that experience really taught me how to be resilient in a very different way to what I was used to. The next thing that living abroad has taught me, and this one is I think so important to remember, especially not if you're just moving abroad, but just in general, because I think everybody's going to come across this. And luckily it never truly affected me because I never really listened to people. Not that I don't like to listen to people, but I am very impulsive, and when I know something is right for me, I am usually pretty accurate, and so I won't listen to people. And if I know that they're going to be like this, then I'll just ignore it or just not ask. But that is to not listen to people's negativity. I think especially when you're moving somewhere new, if you go anywhere, and I've spoken about this in my other videos before, but if you search anywhere in the world, it could be like the most beautiful, tropical, beautiful, sunshiny paradise ever, there will be a selection of people who will tell you every single reason why you shouldn't go there. And not just about moving to places, but also people have opinions on the choices that you make, the jobs that you do. I remember when I was moving to Canada, and I never really got this off friends or family. Generally, I had very supportive friends and family, but I did have somebody who I remember was like, why would you move across the world with no job? Like, you have a job and a great income and like friends and family here. Like, why would you ever take the risk and go somewhere else? And honestly, to that, I'm so glad that it didn't scare me. There have been times in my life where I have been scared out of doing things that I love. One of the biggest ones was not going to university to do the degree that I wanted to do. For my whole life, I wanted to be an actor and I wanted to go to drama school, and I had somebody scare me out at the very last minute and make me pull all of my applications, and I never ended up going, and it was one of my biggest regrets. I don't like to have regrets, but if there ever was one, I feel like that is my biggest regret, and that was such an important lesson that I have taken through the rest of my life. So now I know that when I know something is right for me, to not listen to anybody else, because usually it is just them projecting their own insecurities on you. And I think if I had listened to those people, even though they were smaller voices, I probably never would have come here. I probably never would have left the UK. I would have been doing the same thing over and over again. And that would have been devastating, because moving has been one of, if not the best decision that I ever made in my life. And I'm so glad that I had the courage to do it and not listen to people's negativity. And if you are someone in your life who has people being negative around the decisions that you want to make for yourself, I would generally say 9 times out of 10, don't listen. People that love you and want to see the best for you and see that you want to do something right will always support you. And if they feel like it's perhaps not right for you, they will tell you in a nice way and in a supportive way. Obviously it's different about, you know, decisions that might hurt you or something, but things like jobs that you're doing, or if you want to move abroad, people always have opinions, but if you know that's right for you, don't listen to negativity. Only take on people that are supportive and want to see you do the best. Yeah, that was such a huge lesson for me, and I'm really glad that I have learned that and like continue to learn that. The next one, and this is a really important one for me, because I am somewhat of a home bird in the sense that I love to be around family. I cherish my family with all of my heart. Unfortunately, I've had a few very difficult years where I've lost a few people that have been really, really close to me. And that was one of my biggest fears about moving away, was I was leaving the people that I knew and loved most behind. And I thought that I would never find that in Canada. As I said, you know, Mike, my boyfriend's family are here, but we're in a different province now. And, you know, it's different when it's your own family, you know, it was very hard, but I definitely learned that you can make your own family from the friends that you come across. You can build a support system of people from your friends that feel like family. And for me, that whole experience has been better than I could have ever expected, and it's been more than what I could have ever had in the UK. I've made friends who are native to Canada, who have moved from the UK to Canada, who have moved from other places to Canada. And finally, after a very long time of being here, I feel like I have, in a way, my own created family from a pool of friends, and it's amazing. Especially when you don't have your like original support system. I think that having friends who are supportive and lovely and close to you is so important, because especially in the UK, I don't think I ever considered friends could be as close as family. I never really had that experience. And then, you know, I think when you move abroad, you have to look for other people for support. Obviously I have Mike, and Mike has me, but having friends that you can lean on and talk to and ask for advice and know that they are there for you and that they will pick up the phone or they'll come around. I have had times in my life that I don't know what I would do without the people that I have met in Canada, and I'm just so grateful for them. And I'm so grateful that I've been able to create a family from a pool of really amazing, beautiful, awesome, incredible friends. Getting kind of emotional about this now. This is not a good idea. This is not the brand. And the final thing that I've learned from living abroad, and I guess I kind of knew this when I lived in the UK, but it's definitely opened my eyes to it, is the importance of travel. The world is a small place, but there is so much to see. Even just local places. I think when I was in the UK, I never really traveled around the UK that much. I lived in the north, and I went around the north quite a bit, in Scotland and Northern Ireland and Ireland. But I never really went down south that often. Obviously I went to London, I worked in London a bunch of times. But I haven't really explored that much of the south of England, and I never really considered like doing little day trips like that, whereas here in Canada, I'm always looking for things to do. We're always going on little day trips. We're always traveling as much as we can, whenever we can, and also going home as much as we can. Both Mike and I now live in a place that's not where we're from, and the importance of traveling home as often as you can, I think, has just really hit home, especially in the last couple of years, because of the people that we've lost in our lives. And also, you know, people say, you know, you travel and you move, and then when you come home everything is the same because you expect it to be different because you feel so different. But for me, I've had the complete opposite experience. Every time I've gone home, something has changed, something has been different, and people grow. And especially when you have little people in your family, you know, young kids, they grow up so fast, and parents age and your aunts and uncles age, and then you have your cousins and your siblings, and everyone is just moving and changing all the time. Yeah, the importance of travel. is a big one. Don't stay in the same place. Move around, see different things, talk to different people. It's so important. There are so many amazing people out there with so many stories and so many different perspectives. If there's one thing that you take away from this video, let it be just travel as much as you can. And that is it for the 5 things that I have learned that have made me a better person, whatever you want to call this, from moving abroad, living in Canada. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I just want to leave you with one really kind of like important note, and that is to just remember that no matter what it is that you do, whether it is a stay-at-home parent or traveling the world, or you know, backpacking, solo trip, couples trip, having kids, staying in your hometown, moving abroad, doing what I've done, whatever it is, just do what makes you happy, because this life is very short, and especially when you're young, you think that you have so much time, and as you get older and older, you realize that time is going by so quickly, and our time here on this planet is finite, and at the end of the day, doing what makes you happy as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else is the most important thing. Whether it's totally mainstream or a little bit different, then it doesn't matter. If it makes you happy and it doesn't hurt anyone else, just do it, because I do think that that is the most important thing that I have learned in general. And if you've listened this far, I hope that is something that you take away from this. Do what makes you happy. And I said travel as much as you can, but if travel doesn't make you happy, then also you don't have to travel. Like, there's pros and cons to everything. So just do what brings you joy. I feel like that's what life's all about. Anyway, this video got very deep very quickly. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, feelings, what your favorite things that you've learned are from moving abroad or not moving abroad are, or just say hi, you know? I love to chat to people. So you can find me on YouTube. I post videos every single weekend. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch. I think I still have a Facebook page open, but I don't really post on that, so I wouldn't recommend it. I also think I have a Twitter, but I don't think I use it that often either. But I am pretty much everywhere. You can pretty much find me anywhere. So yeah, if you did like it, do all those things. Hit the bell notification so you know when I next post a video. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Until my next one, I hope you have the most wonderful week, and I'll see you again very soon.